Assisted reproduction is this amazing journey of science and hope and a whole lot of planning. But every now and then, life just throws in a variable that absolutely nobody sees coming. We're about to dive into a story that really captures that perfect intersection of careful planning and pure surprise.
I mean, that one sentence right there, it just perfectly sums up the exact moment when everything changed for this one family. It's the kind of twist that takes a meticulously planned journey and turns it into this absolutely extraordinary adventure.
So let's start with the people at the heart of this. We have a hopeful couple and their surrogate. They started this whole process with one very clear goal: to welcome one healthy baby into their family. They followed every protocol, every recommendation. They did everything by the book.
Okay, so here's how it all played out. Back in July of 2019, the couple and their surrogate get matched. A few months later, in November, they do a single embryo transfer. Everything looks like it's perfectly on track. But then, the first ultrasound, a month later, that's when they discovered not one, but 2 heartbeats. And by the next June, they were the proud parents of twin boys.
This incredible story naturally brings up a huge scientific question, right? How in the world is this even possible? So let's get into the biology behind what really seems like a modern-day miracle. And this is the part that's so wild. They transferred one single embryo, not 2. So how did they end up with identical twins? Well, the answer is in this fascinating and pretty rare biological event.
It's a phenomenon called embryo splitting. Basically, in the very early days, right after fertilization, a single embryo just spontaneously divides into 2. And boom, you have 2 separate but genetically identical embryos. This is literally how identical twins happen.
So you're probably wondering, how often does this actually happen? Is this common? Well, not at all. The chance of a single embryo splitting during an IVF procedure is only about 1 to 2%. So yeah, it's something doctors know can happen, but it is definitely not a common outcome. Now, while the idea of a buy one, get one free baby might sound wonderful, the medical reality of an unexpected twin pregnancy is, well, it's complicated. You remember the twins in our story arrived early, and that really highlights the serious health risks that are involved here.
Let's just start with this number, which is, honestly, it's staggering. Around 60% of all twin pregnancies end in a preterm birth. That means more than half of all twins are born before they've hit that full-term mark, which can open the door to all sorts of developmental challenges. And tied directly to being born early is low birth weight. Over half of all twins are born weighing less than 5.5 pounds, and that in itself can increase the risk for some immediate health problems right after they're born.
And the risks don't stop there. For the mother, or the surrogate in this case, there's a higher chance of things like gestational diabetes and preeclampsia. And for the babies, there's a greater likelihood of needing a C-section for delivery and ending up in the NICU, the neonatal intensive care unit, for specialized care. So it's exactly because of all these well-documented risks that the entire field of fertility medicine has made this huge, dramatic shift in its standard practices over the last decade or so.
The goalpost has really moved. It's not just about getting pregnant anymore. It's about having the healthiest pregnancy possible. And to do that, the recommendation is now crystal clear. Elective single embryo transfer, or eSET. This means choosing to transfer just one embryo, even if there are more available, to really focus on one healthy baby at a time.
And wow, you can really see how profound that shift has been just by looking at this data. Back in 2013, only about 31% of these procedures used a single embryo. Fast forward to 2022, and that number has skyrocketed to 86%. This isn't just a small trend, it's a fundamental change in the standard of care. And when you put it all side by side like this, the why becomes super clear. On one side, you've got all the risks we just talked about with multiple embryos. And on the other, you have the huge benefits of a single embryo transfer. A safer pregnancy, a way better chance of making it to full term, and just healthier outcomes for everyone.
Okay, so let's circle back to the family we started this whole story with. We've gone through the science, we've looked at the statistics, but what happened to them? Their story is just this powerful reminder that even when you're in a high-risk situation, the outcome can still be a really beautiful one.
So the boys were born very premature, at just over 31 weeks, and they were tiny. Baby A was just 3 pounds 4 ounces, and baby B was 3 pounds 7 ounces. As you'd expect for babies born that early, they were immediately admitted to the NICU for round-the-clock care. And this is where their journey has such a wonderful ending. After 1 month in the hospital, despite being so small and arriving so early, both boys were discharged healthy and strong, and they were finally able to go home and start their lives with their parents.
What a fortunate, amazing outcome.
So this whole story leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about, doesn't it? We rely so much on medical science to give us the safest, most predictable path to building a family. But at the end of the day, we also have to leave room for the incredible, unpredictable, and sometimes truly miraculous surprises that life has in store. It's just a reminder that even in the most controlled environments, sometimes nature gets the final say.